Beautiful beings of the universe, welcome to now. As always, starting this video with the fire element and the good energy of Adi Yogi. Because this is the February month, and during this time, you might feel the energy around you getting heavier, and you might be in a position where you have to put in extra effort to drag yourself out of the slumber because of the dance of dark energies. So, in times like this, wherein you feel that the inertia is more, then you need to just get back to the center of who you are. Because, of course, the demonic energies, the people playing by demonic playbook, they are constantly going to get more and more crazy during these times. So, you just not just react and give them the power over you, because all that they want from you is your reaction. So, in order to keep you centered, just remember this. The more you are being tested, do not take those things as something that you want to push away, but take those tests as opportunities wherein you can do the opposite of that. So if let's say if you're being tested by some XYZ, by some stranger. So rather than fighting them, you can just choose to stay quiet. And this was the experiment of a lot of philosophers, and they said this, that if you just could stay quiet right in the heat of the moment, and if you could just wait for half an hour or even 15 minutes, that could save you from a lot of useless wastage of your energy. Because the reason is, the more you're going to waste your energy fighting the little demons who are just like minions who want to get your attention, you're not going to have the energy to do the actual real work that your spirit calls you for. So why do you think these demonic little minions, why do they fight you? They're not going to do something massive, but just a little bit to prick your nerve. Just a little bit irritation. And call that it's funny. It's not even funny. But what you should do is not react. Just watch it. And you feel the unease, you feel the dislikeness that arises in your mind, you feel the unpleasantness in your body. So, Thich Nhat Hanh talks about this, the great Vietnamese enlightened monk. He talks about this. So, the action is outward, but the seed of the action comes from thought. And the birth of thought happens when you meet the external circumstances outside. So every now and then when you're being tested, which of course, this is the case with everybody on the planet. If you're a human on a day-to-day experience, you are met with challenges. So the world is there to test you. Don't take that world is just there for an easy ride. Your life is a test. And so goes on for everybody. Every person is playing out their spiritual karmic blueprint. So don't compare yourself to others because they are undergoing a very difficult test. In fact, every person on the planet undergoes massive, difficult tests. So be kind to people. Even when they push your buttons, see if you can contain your calm and composure. Lao Tzu talks about this on real power. So, what is real power? Mastering others is strength, and mastering yourself is true power. So while these demonic people who are basically not evil on their own, but just that they are possessed by these spirits, and when those spirits leave, they would be back to a good human. So just remember this. That's what Christ said. You do not fight the flesh. You are fighting the evil spirit that possesses the people behind. So you're not called to fight them, but rather see if you could stay calm and centered in the moment, or if at all, if that situation demands certain action from you, even that action, even that anger could be channeled in a proper way. So you might want to document them. You might not want to talk to the right people. You might see and read about the problem, have others faced that. And if they did, what was the solution? That is going to make you incredible leader. Because see, who's a leader is not somebody who never failed, but who took through these failures and learned the lessons and brought that available to rest of the world. That's what the greatest leader is. So you do not keep your lessons that you learned only to yourself. You share it out with the rest of the world. And this is a great knowledge sharing. This is what Buddha said. The greatest teaching, the greatest gift to the mankind that you do is not just giving away money to people. Of course, you do that when it's urgently needed. Like if somebody is hungry, you should give them food. If somebody doesn't have a house to live and you have enough to provide accommodation, by all means, go ahead and help those people or make houses for them. But beyond that, when the basic needs of people are met, what truly needs is the arrival of you at your center of your being, of the I am. And that is very neutral state. So, since the world is so mad about action that I need to be doing this and you need to be doing that, and I'm going to beat you and show you, because in the game of duality, the fight gets very ugly, right? That's what has led to the world wars on the planet. So many World War One and Two, and this is World War Three, just at a silent way. You're being manipulated and controlled, and you won't even know. But with the rise of awareness and with this energy change for the new Earth, and a lot of people waking up throughout the planet, it's no more a hidden thing. So no wonder you find so many people talk about the illusion, talk about the matrix, talk about how the world is set up and how you're being controlled and dragged into mindless tasks. And then you're forced to just live like a puppet, and you do not truly feel a true human connection with who you truly are. So, all of this would reach to its maximum state of destruction and devastation. And when people are enough fed up all over the planet, and then there would be a rise of the new earth. And this has been talked about in all of the great masters of the world have spoken about this many years ago. And I've been reading this book, Laws of the Sun, and he talks about this too, how Jesus Christ would come in the future. And all of this is just a pavement for that. So the world we live in, if it does not change the way for truth, for goodness, for beauty on earth, it is gradually going to lead towards destruction and devastation. And you already look at the global level of how the political scene is. I also wanted to read out this thought from Phil Knight, who's Nike co-founder, on balance. My life was out of balance, sure, but I didn't care. In fact, I wanted even more imbalance. If my life was to be all work and no play, I wanted my work to be play. So this strikingly clear vision, don't think that somebody great just arrives at that. You arrive at a very solid clarity. Like I'm sure you have heard this quote that says, every person has two lives, and the second one comes into picture when they realize they have only one. So people, as long as they can keep on pretending about making fun of somebody who's actually doing the right work in the right direction, whereas these losers, these cowards who didn't have the energy or the vision or the courage, I should say, because it's difficult to go against the tide. So they want to mock at you while you work out on yourself. So that is because these people wear masks, and that is clearly because they just want to, they are living double lives, and which is absolutely pointless. But there comes a time in every person's life when you realize you cannot be faking around that anymore. And what truly your soul calling is, you must go all in. Else, what's inside of you has the power to destroy you. You might be having a lot of money, but you wouldn't know what to do with it. You might have a lot of external people, but still, you might have a lot of fake friends, but you would not have any real relationship. And that's clearly because you do not know who you are, because you do not have a true relationship with your own self, because you do not know what triggers you and what makes you mad, and how you just want to keep your shadow side deep under the rug because it's so ugly and you don't want the world to know. But the world is an open ground. There's nothing that is private, there's nothing that is secret. Every person knows about everyone. And this happens through the vibration. So, somebody who's sane, they probably don't even waste their time trying to defend and have to live a double life. They are just who they are. What's inside is what's outside. So, too many people make their life miserable by being who they are not, just to be inside a mask that they think would keep them safe. Just to be on the bully side because they think that bullies are powerful. They're that is absolutely a coward who's a bully. True power is silence. So, I want to read this quote of therapist Dr. Albert Ellis, and he talks about how people make their life miserable. When you rigidly hold certain irrational beliefs, when you dogmatically command that you must do well, have to be approved by others, these people have got to treat you fairly, and they always ought to live with easy and enjoyable conditions. When you stoutly hold these irrational beliefs, you will tend to make yourself needlessly miserable and will probably defeat some of your most cherished goals. So that's why when you see these people out there in groups, being together, making belief like, oh, we are all together. But all of this, that is only because the haters want to come together to bring you down. And the reason is because they hate to see the light that you shine. So anytime you think that you seek validation from somebody of low vibration, somebody who's lived their whole lives out of lies, so clearly take this as the greatest sign. If the person who criticizes you, they do not have the standard that you would look up to, it's absolutely not your job to take that criticism. But you must be an alchemist, like Paulo Coelho talks about in his book, Warrior of Light. And you take that energy that the society from this toxicity, you take that toxicity and you turn that around for growth, for self development, for channeling into your deeper roots of who you are. Because, see, you should not ignore the negativity of the world because you cannot live in a world which is a utopian world. It does not exist. You can go to any part of the world and you are going to meet evil. So, the goal is not to run away from evil. The goal is to be there, absolutely. Watch it. Watch how do you react. Watch how what sort of expression and irritation and anger rises in you. And be with it. Watch your own self like an experiment. It's not about you destroying them. It's about you going backwards. So you see the world like a mirror. You see, it's a lot of deep work that you have to do. And it's not pleasant because it's so easy when somebody appreciates you and somebody just tells you that you're wearing a nice dress. And it feels so comfortable, right? But if somebody told you something nasty or somebody made fun of you or said something disgusting like, oh, you're ugly or you stink or you're so you, then what's your reaction? You immediately want to either disappear from that place or you want to answer them back, right? That is the natural reaction. You want to ask them to shut up. But the experiment is, this thought experiment is that you must just stay aware, not get too much flattened, not get too much flattered if somebody appreciates you. that I like your vibe, or I like the way you think, or I like the book that you're reading. Or not get too mad and too angry and too annoyed when they tell you something nasty, when they throw you words of hate. So your task is to be watchful in both these states and just to be present as an observer. And from that day onwards, of course, you will see that you trying to control your reaction is very difficult. It's difficult in the moment when somebody tests you in a very dark negative way. But strangely, you will also see that with this there is a new sort of energy that even though you were feeling energetically depleted by energy vampires, or because of the state of the world we are in, or by psychic attacks on you, but you're also going to see that through this there's this new splurge of energy in you. And if you're watchful, if you could just stay sane, you could channel that energy into your own, whatever whatever task is it that it needs the watering. So for instance, it's like the wild flood that just broke open from the bridge, and all that water is there which is just running wildly in you. It's the energy in you. But if you make proper banks, then you can actually channel that water and make your crops grow. You can harvest your that untamed energy into harvesting of the crops that you're growing, the plants and the trees that you're growing. So this was very incredible. And I also wanted to read out some of the quotes that I thought made a lot of sense to me, and I'm just here to share. So the first one is, mediocrity to me is a disease that you have to get rid of at all costs. Even though that might mean you to stand out alone, even though that might mean you to be looked out as funny. So that's a disease which most of the people are stuck with, and you don't want to be part of that. Second point is, power is fleeting and it doesn't last. And if you don't believe that, take a look at anyone that's had it. So don't run after power or fame, or don't just run after anything external. Whatever is needed on your journey will follow. The money that you need will come. The right sort of people who match your intelligence, your vibration will come, and the low vibration ones are actually going to hate on you and try to tear you down because they see you as a competition. Your job is just to keep going every single day. Third thing is, don't fight your job. Do to your best effort and then see whatever comes. If they like it, they like it. If they don't, take the feedback and move on. So don't fight it. Fourth is, mediocrity is invisible until passion shines a light on it. And the fifth is, the most important people on the planet are journalists and editors. Yeah, to an extent, but to me, I think it's the artist, because an artist keeps the soul of what it truly means to be a human, that is kept alive by an artist, or by a speaker, or by an actor, by a dancer. In fact, there are so many ways in which you can express yourself. And I'm not against him saying that most important people on the planet are journalists and editors. Of course, they have a lot of political power, but that too, that could be used in a way, like, it depends a lot on the morality of the person. If the journalist is truly interested in telling the truth, or have they been brainwashed with control structures, and then they would bring more about the news which is not so much align with truth, but rather something that would catch the catch more of audience eyeballs. Same thing goes on for editing. In fact, same thing would go on for anything, even an artist, a musician who would just create to sound to just to make a track which sounds more like something which has been done before, or just because something was a big hit 8 years ago. Well, I think all of that also stems from the need of urgency. Like if somebody is in urgency of money, then of course they would care about making their music mainstream, and they would do anything to get it there. But on the other hand, if some there's another artist who's more interested in truly defining his own self-expression, then that's what he would do, and he would not be too much concerned with the outcome of his art, be it the animation video that he makes or she makes, or the music that he makes, or a dance that the dancer does. So again, you can tie this to the balance between the yin and the yang. The yin, the spirit force, would animate life through you, and you would act more out of the spirit, which to the people who follow the rules, to the people who follow by technique, to the masculine, that would sound very irrational. So you would be seen as somebody too weird, because you do not seem to think like how the structures want you to think. But again, it's more about the yin energy and the yang energy. And this energy does a dance in every person. And sometimes you might find more of yin in yourself, and sometimes you might find more of yang in yourself. Eckhart Tolle, the enlightened master who has written the book Power of Now, he talks about this too. That though he's a man, but he's more embodied with the yin energy, which is the feminine energy, which is about silence, which is about quietude, which is about solitude. And there comes another woman who has got more of a yang energy, more of a masculine energy, because she's more about outdoing in the world. Like what does a man do? A man is all about asserting his will on the world. That's why he wants more power. That's why he wants more money. That's why he wants fancy cars. That's why he wants all the control of the world. That's more of a masculine energy. And the yin energy is soft and receptive. So this comes from the way you think. And this comes from the way you are, because thinking is also an output, thinking is an action. You can also stay without thinking. Your thought is action. So anytime a negative thought comes your way, so if somebody just walked in and said, you're funny, and you might take that thought and actually start to think, oh yeah, you're funny. That's what she said. That's what he said. But this is a belief system, right? So you can also take that and turn it in an opposite direction and say that, no, I'm awesome. I'm creative. I can use a situation and use it creatively in many different ways. I can be funny and I can also be witty. I can also be using my intelligence. So all of this thing basically works out, depends on the way how you think. Depends on the way how you think. This is so important. So if you think you're a fool, you would actually act like a fool. If you think you're smart, you would tend to be smart. And you might think this is so simple. And that's what Buddha said. You are what you think you are. So the world might be telling you whatever they have to say you. But if you do not take the negativity of the world, and if you stay at your center, as I am, which is neutral, you can very well be at a zero state, which is what nirvana is, which is what awakening is. That you're just playing out the rule. The when you move out in the external world, you just play the game like how the rule book is set out. But when you're out from there, then you're just a nobody and you're a nothing. And deep inside, everybody knows this. But they find this so bland, and it doesn't have a taste. So in order to experience the world, you go out and you tend to play these games like I'm so and so. That either I'm a hero or I'm a bully. But both of these people are actually playing a game. But since this whole life is a game, that's why you better choose your side and play it. Because it's a game, and as you move out in the world, you're called out to play because you cannot be a non-playing character. So the game wants you to play. And if you don't like game A, you can move to game B. And if you don't like that game, because eventually all the games that you do not enjoy must be played out till you actually arrive at the game which truly excites you, which you deep down know damn well what is it that you truly want. But you do not arrive at that point because of cowardice. Because you believe in a system that says, I have control over you. And what is a system? It's a ghost. It's a ghost of many individual tiny eyes. And if we talk about individualism versus collective, collective is always going to be an enemy of somebody who's an individualist because it's daring, it's courageous and a gutsy thing. Not nobody else can do that what you can do, what you bring to the table. So naturally the collective, which is unconscious, would want to project their hate onto you because they see that you're the real king. They see you as a real lion, but they get intimidated. So what better way to tear you down than just make fun of you or try to belittle you or try to play some stupid silly prank on you and have a laugh about it, just like a 2-year-old child. So basically all these bullies are just children who have not grown up. Just their bodies are big, but it's very childish, childlike act. So don't get don't get offended when somebody at that level laughs on you. Just don't take that personally. And all this while, you just take a look at the history. Always the collective was anti the individualist. This is the big war. Because if I come out as a system and then I say we all coming together has got power over you, in which I single you out, then naturally you should be afraid. That's why Christ was the greatest individualist. And what did the collective do? What did Galileans do? They put him on the cross. But what did Christ say in the end? I was reading this great book, this tiny little Bible that I got from the street library, in which I read some chapters of Luke and what is that? There was another Revelations, yeah. Some incredible things I read in Revelations that says about this. So Christ said finally that I give up my life on my own will, and I give it and I take it back. And he did come back after 3 days. And though nobody believed him, but he did because he was the God. He is the God. He's eternal. And soon he will come in flesh and form. So when he was talking the truth, guess what the bully, lying kings and all of those cowards, what did they tell to Jesus? Do you think you are God? And he said, I am. And then they got so mad and they said, no, Moses, we believe in Moses. And then Jesus said, if you truly believe in Moses, then why don't you act like how Moses did? Your belief is just a lie. You're a con king. And he got so angry, and he said he ordered for his crucifixion. So this is about it. Jesus' life is all about, it's basically out there for us to learn from. Every single thing that he did for people, and there were some people who challenged him that, okay, you brought others, like you brought Lazarus who was dead and you brought him back to life. So why not save yourself? You must save yourself. You have saved others. And that was a very, very genuine question. Like some people had that. If you have the power to raise the dead because you're the Son of God, then why won't you save yourself? And why won't you save the other two sinners who were put on the cross next to him? So there were three people who were crucified that night, that day. So at the final moment, he did say, Father, my soul is in crisis. I'm very much in turbulence. Is there any other way? And then there was no answer. But he surrendered. And his whole life was in surrender. And he surrendered. And after that, the third day he was born. He was resurrected. So that gives hope. Hope for hope for the truth. Because he never promised people about having the excesses like having fame and power and control and wealth. And he didn't have any of that still. Still, every chapter that you read in that book, in that divine words of Christ, is gold. Every single word that he said. And I get the same vibe when I read Lao Tzu's book as well, Tao Te Ching. Every single poem, every single koan that he talks about has got tons of truth in it. And why we want truth is because that is what will give you a direction in a world that is dark and where laughter is only the sound of somebody's falling, failing, or dying. That's when people rejoice and they enjoy. This is the dark state of the world. And if you truly want to live out of some sanity in this crazy, insane world, nothing but the truth could set you free. Nothing but the truth is going to keep you on the right direction. Because what the world wants you is just to be mad consumer. Just to keep running after this mad capitalist system that is going to destroy you. That has probably already destroyed you. No wonder you feel so dead. No wonder you look around the people and they all seem so dead. Just eating, consuming, blabbering, talking words that nobody understands and just laughing insanely. So you do have a choice. You do have a choice to be in the light. And if that means suffering and if that means pain, that is the work that your spirit has signed up for. Because if you think that being in the lies and being with a bullying system which only wants to feed on using of others' energies and time and money is going to keep you happy, that's utter disgust. And that will cause you sickness, disease, and it never makes you happy, it never makes you peaceful. So if you choose truth, if you choose what truly matters to you as a human, as a real human, then you can turn to divine. From a simple, normal human, you can actually become the divine. That's what Christ's teaching was all about. That's what Christ says about all of his work. He says that if you do not believe me, look at my work that I do. And through that, you will have faith. Though there might be some anger, like why didn't God save him on the day of crucifixion? But God had better plans. So that's why on the third day, Jesus, who's the God himself and who's eternal, he is present even without his body, even without his form. And that Christ consciousness is in all of us. That higher consciousness in you that tells you to be good, to be humble, to be putting in the work, to be shining light to others people, to light your own candle in your own heart. And that would in turn light up the world. That is your Christ consciousness. To live for truth and to fight for truth and to defend the truth, that doesn't mean that you just never fight. Jesus got so angry when there were people who were trying to sell fishes and things at very higher price than needed. And he did fight. It was not that he was cold. He was so hot. He was so angry on the evil people. So of course, there's a reason why you feel triggered every time a demon comes to test you, because that is not your nature. Your nature is about truth and about love and about understanding, about clarity. But the dark force is just the opposite. They're about manipulation, they're about confusion, they're about laughing at others' fall. They're not about unity consciousness. Christ consciousness is unity consciousness. So just keep that flame alive. That is the flame of the spirit in us, and we must keep that flame alive. And if you could be your own person who could drag yourself from the dark to light, that light is in turn going to shine on others' path as well. So as you stay honest and as you stay focused about what truly matters to you, you are just allowing others to be themselves as well. So that as you grow more confident in what you do, others also draw inspiration. And nobody needs to come and say to you, you are great. You just be yourself. And your job is not about controlling anyone else. Your job is just about focusing on your own self. And if the external world needs you, you must be there to support and help. But your agenda is not you will do this to gain appreciation from the world, to see how's my image on the eye of the external world. That's not what you are here for. You must be a 100% yourself despite 100% of the world being anti you. That is what it means to live in Christ consciousness. That is what it means to be the light. Of choosing not to play low when everybody around you plays low. When everybody else around you plays funny and you choose no. That is when you honor the divine in you. That is when you are honoring the Adi Yogi in you, the Shiva energy in you, the Christ energy. They're all one and the same. The Krishna consciousness in you. You honor the divine feminine in you. You honor the divine masculine in you. You honor the yin and you also honor the yang. So that's all I wanted to share in this video. Thank you for listening. Peace and love. And I also wanted to show this. This is the trilogy of Shakti. And this is a sign for energy, peace, and protection. So I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for listening. Bye for now.